Our court's only, our court is only, maybe June, no.
Hi, everyone. We're going to get started here in a few minutes. We'll just give folks a couple more minutes to log on. And we look forward to sharing some good information with you tonight about pre-enrolling and getting started in CALS.
Hello? Hello?
Hi, everyone. This is Anne LaFave from the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences Student Services. So we're going to get started. It looks like we have folks still logging in, and we have quite a bit of information to share tonight. So we'll get through some of it, and certainly as folks jump on, we hope they'll join us in learning what it's going to take to mainly get enrolled next week when that starts. So tonight joining me with the staff is Aubrey Holbrook, Nikki Wells, Jennifer DeRosa, and Shauna Alling. And you can check out what we do on our office webpage if you want to find out more information about others on the staff and who's there to support you. So what we're going to do this evening, I'm going to go over a few things to get us started tonight, and then Aubrey and Nikki are going to talk a little bit about course enrollment tips and tricks, some things that'll help you when you're ready to go through the process next week when it starts. And then Jen is a member of our career team, and she's going to talk about the pre-health tips for enrolling. So for anyone that's thinking about pre-med or pre-vet, which typically is a lot of our first year students, we wanted to make sure we include some of that information because we know that's usually a hot topic and something a lot of students are wondering about. So let's see, move the slides forward, I hope here. And it's not. There we go. Okay, so a couple things for tonight that will be really, really helpful is to make sure your video and microphones are off during the webinar. I believe most of you, when you logged in, your audio should have been off, and that will help us to reduce some background noise. We've done this before, and it's been kind of fun to hear everybody's dogs or the traffic outside the window, but it's a little bit distracting when we're trying to get through the information. So if you can make sure your microphones are off, that would be great. Please do turn it on, though, if you have a question and you want to ask us something. We definitely welcome that. But if you're not asking a question, having it off would be great. We also have the ability to answer questions in the chat feature in Zoom. So if we're not presenting, we'll definitely be trying to answer those questions that you have, and wondering, questions that you want to present. We'll try to incorporate them into the rest of this so others can hear some of the answers as well as we go. So we'll do our best. We know we typically get a lot of questions, and we'll try to stay up with them. And the session is being recorded, so you can always go back and listen to it, but we'll post the link when it's finished, so other students can also go on and listen to this at another point in time. Okay, so a couple of things we want to point to and make sure everybody's tuned into. So far, we have sent you several emails from Cornell. Probably you've received a lot of them at this point. We hope that you're paying attention to those. And a lot of what we're covering tonight, you probably have already received in emails. And I definitely recommend that your Cornell email should now become your primary email system. It's really important because anything that's critical to your time here at Cornell, it's going to be sent to you via your Cornell email. And so from this point on, it really should be your primary email system because everything important is going to come to you in that way. Also want to make sure folks are using Chatter. We have that space designed to help you get information, but ask questions and get your answers. If you haven't downloaded the app to your phone, it's available for both iPhone or Android. We definitely recommend doing that. It makes it super easy to ask some questions and get some answers right from your phone. And then also just want to point out, Tori Dennis did a great job putting together a lot of really good information on the CAL's new student blog. And that has some really good information about each of your majors and the requirements in the course enrollment to help guide you through that process as well. So there's a lot of good information on the blog. If you haven't checked that out yet, please be sure to do that. I think that will really highlight some of the resources that you should be tuned into, especially over the next few weeks as you're getting ready to arrive at Cornell in August, which we can't wait to see you guys. All right. And I think with that, I'm going to stop sharing this and go to another screen. Aubrey, Nikki, are you guys ready?
Yep, we are.
Okay.
Yep,
Let's
I'm here. Can
make
you hear
sure
me?
I can find this again. I had it a few minutes ago.
Can everybody hear us okay before we get started?
Okay, I'm getting ready to share, guys, and I will hit the play button. I think, here we go. All right.
Okay. So this is what you're going to see on Monday when you go into Student Center to enroll in your classes. You're going to click the Add button. And then you're going to enter the class number that you found, and you can use this in Scheduler or in classes.cornell.edu. Then you'll see the class appear on this next screen. If you want to change how it's graded, you'll go over right here to the grading drop-down menu, and you can pick graded or SU. Then you're going to click next. And then you'll see the class appears in your shopping cart. At this point, you could add another class over to the left, or if you want to just go ahead to enroll in the class, you go to the next step. And this is the confirmation page. You don't get enrolled until you push this finish enrolling button. And because this was a test, it actually didn't enroll us in this test environment, but you'll actually see the green circle instead of a red X when this happens for real. So you'll go back to the class search. If you want to delete the class from your shopping cart, you can. The cool thing about shopping cart is that you can put all of the classes that you're interested in your shopping cart at any time. And then when pre-enrollment opens at 9 a.m. on Monday, you would just go to that very last screen and click the finish enrolling button. And then all of the classes in your shopping cart, in theory, as long as they're still open, would be enrolled onto your schedule. And I'll just want to point out that Monday, July 8th is a very lucky day because it's my birthday. So I wish all of you good luck in enrolling on your birthday. And if you call and I answer the phone, my name's Nikki, and all of us on this call can help you with your enrollment questions. In order to be in good academic standing in CALS, please make sure that you're enrolled in 12 academic credits, 1 CALS course minimum, and just keep in mind that phys ed classes are not academic credit. You're limited to 18 credits during your pre-enrollment though. And if you're interested in a freshman writing seminar, that is a separate process from what you just saw. you should be getting communication, if you haven't already, from the Night Writing Institute about how to enroll in an FWS. But essentially, you would rank, I think it's about 5 FWS courses that you're interested in. And then you would submit that to the Night Writing Institute. And then what they'll do is enroll you in one of those courses. They do their best to get you into your top 3 at the very least, but they'll at least get you in something that was on your list. And so then you'll see that appear in your enrollment for the fall in late July or early August. I think that was it from me. I'm going to hand it over to Aubrey.
Thank you. Anne, was there a degree progress screenshot? Is that what you're trying to get to right now? I have it up. I can share it if that
Hey,
is.
Aubrey, can I answer a couple of questions?
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've got a few questions in the chatter, and I can't keep up with them. So someone asked about how they could figure out who their academic advisor is. So academic advisors will be in your DUST screen. We'll share a link to your DUST in the chatter group, but when you go to the main page in your DUST, you'll see at the top in a yellow bar where your advisor is listed. Some of you may or may not have your advisor listed quite yet. And I think Nikki can share a little bit more about advisor assignments.
Sure. We've gotten a lot of calls and questions about this topic, and most departments will not be assigning faculty advisors until a little bit later on in August. Some of them may have done this early, though. With 29 departments in CALS, they all kind of do their own thing and follow their same schedule. So if you haven't heard from your department or you don't see an advisor listed, don't stress. It probably means that they just haven't assigned you one yet, and you will hear from them eventually. So in the meantime, if you have questions, you can contact our office, or you can also contact your department directly and ask to speak with the advising coordinator. And if you're not sure who that is, you can give us a call and we'll connect you to the right person.
Thanks. So another question is, what is the max number of credits you recommend? Aubrey might go into that a little bit more, but all students can pre-enroll in up to 18 credits. I wouldn't recommend for anyone's first semester more than anywhere between 12 and 15 credits, because it's your first semester and you're getting acclimated, you're meeting new people, you may be joining clubs. So that's my recommendation. There's a question about, let's see, first year writing seminars. Students will ballot for their first year writing seminars through a separate process through the Knight Institute. The balloting process opens at the very same time that pre-enrollment opens. And there's a link in the email that you received Sunday night. We'll also post another link into the chatter group. CALS does not have a written expression requirement for first year writing seminar. We have a requirement for 6 credits of writing and 3 more credits in writing or oral expression. Transfer students can ballot for first year writing seminar in their first semester. After that, you wouldn't be allowed to take a first year writing seminar. But you're not required to take a first year writing seminar. You can take any approved written expression course. Let's see. AP.
Shauna, there was a question about changing majors before the semester starts. And the answer to that is, at this point in time, no, you can't change your major right now. What we would recommend is that you plan to follow a schedule that allows you to sort of satisfy maybe 2 areas of interest. Certainly you want to try to take a course within the major you've been admitted into, but also you should have the flexibility to take a course in the new area of interest. And so each of the majors have very different qualifications for changing into them. Some are relatively easier than others. Some have a very formal application process. So you would need to explore that once you're here on campus, or begin to think about what courses you might want to take this fall, because some majors do have a pretty rigorous plan. For example, some you can only apply after your first year and towards your second year. So it varies quite a bit across the college. So you would just need to thoroughly explore the major you want to change into.
I'll let Aubrey take it away.
Thanks. So first, I just want to share with you all something. Let me see if I can get my screen up. Can everybody see this now? This is our degree progress. So this is something that most of you will not be able to see yet because it will not be active until you're actually enrolled in classes. So starting in the beginning around orientation, you will begin to have access to this. So basically, this is just a high-level overview of your college graduation requirements. This is probably a bit overwhelming right now, but I just wanted to reassure you all that there is a place that exists that you can go to track your graduation requirements as you go through your time here. Transfer students, if there are any on the call, you may have seen something similar to this with your transfer credits that have come in. So just know that this is just a different view once it is made accessible to everybody. So just to go over this briefly to give you a really high level introduction of what to expect. CALS has different distribution requirements, including Intro to Life Sciences, Chemistry or Physics, and then other physical and life sciences. And those are broken down categorically depending on the type of course. So of course, intro bio or your introductory biology classes, that's pretty straightforward. Same with chemistry and physics. So just one class basically in a chemistry or physics is a requirement for the college. And then this other category is a bit more broad. So you'll see things in here like this math class that is actually a calculus class counts as this other physical and life sciences, and basically a lot of other CALS science-based, life science-based courses will fulfill this requirement. So many of you will not have any problem fulfilling that requirement over your few years here. We also have a link that you'll have access to in Chatter later, and then also in this platform later this summer to search for different classes that fulfill these different requirements. So there's one place that you can go to in order to find all of those. Then we get into our humanities and social science requirements.
Hey, Aubrey.
Yeah.
Just watch, you're cutting out a little bit on your sound. I don't know if your microphone is close to your mouth all the time, but just letting you know, it's cutting out a little bit.
Okay, is this better?
Yes, if you can keep it like that, it'd be great.
Okay, so so into the humanities and social sciences, there are multiple different categories that fulfill this requirement as well. And again, you can search for those in that same link. So basically it's different courses. So you can see in this example that there's one in this category of an econ class, and then it tells you here that this example would need 3 more courses and 2 categories, because you need 4 total courses in 3 categories, and including a really important diversity requirement that is part of CALS requirements. It's a special category that's required for all students. And then the written and oral communication that Sean already touched on. And then something that gets confusing, and now this will be the last thing for this page, is CALS credits. Some students get confused as to what that means, but basically it is any class that is taught within a department of CALS. So biology would count into that. You can see here in the example, applied economics and management, education, nutritional sciences, natural resources, plant sciences, animal sciences, all of those are considered CALS credits. and there's a minimum of 55 CALS credits that students need in order to graduate. And again, this is generally not an area where students have too much of an issue fulfilling, so it should not be something that you're worried about at this point in time, but it is definitely something to be aware of and to keep track of as you go through. And the last couple of things are the PE and the swim test requirements that are university requirements. The swim test for freshman students will happen during orientation. You'll receive information on how to register for your swim test. Later on this summer, you can pick a time slot, and then also 2 PE courses are required for freshman students as well. You can take them at any time during your 4 years. You just have to take 2 to fulfill that requirement. And other than that, the 120 credits total for graduation is your main goal. But I wanted to keep this kind of high level and not get into too much of a detail. So I'm sure you have a ton of questions. Shauna, I don't know if you want to jump in with any questions from the chat.
Nope, I think Nikki's helping me keep up. So I think we're good unless any students want to chime in and ask some questions and unmute. We can help.
Hey, Shauna, there was a question if someone has a 5 in AP language but still wants to take the writing seminar, is that possible? And will you still receive 3 credits for AP as well?
Yep, so if you want to take a first-year writing seminar, it is not an overlap with the AP credit. So feel free to ballot for the first-year writing seminar. That's fine.
Ooh, and there's a question about how do you get your AP credit?
So if you're a transfer student and you are wondering if your scores were sent to CALS, we can double check for you. If you're a first year student and you're pretty sure they were sent and they're not listed in your DUST, we can also see if we can refetch them. I know that our office has been updating and refetching scores weekly. So if you think that your scores haven't arrived yet, they may still be coming in. So just double check with us. You can always send us an email as well.
Great. Any other questions anyone wants to ask? Okay, I'm not hearing
Excuse me?
Oh, yes, go ahead.
What does the diversity requirement entail?
Yeah, so the diversity requirement, it's something every Cal student has to complete. And it really is a opportunity to choose from a wide range of courses that have been determined to meet the diversity requirement for the college. It's one of the tools you can use in DUST that allows you to search for those specific courses. There's quite a few of them, and they have to meet a requirement that covers a certain amount of information in the course that the college feels addresses diversity issues of many, many types. And there's quite a wide range of courses to choose from. An introductory sociology course, for example, actually counts as a diversity course. And then there's some very specific courses that focus on certain areas of diversity that you can choose from. So it's kind of a broad range of courses you can choose from. So typically students find something that's interesting for them, but also helps to meet the college diversity requirement.
Thank you.
Okay. Jen, are you ready to dive into a little bit of the pre-health information?
I am.
Okay, let me share your slides. I think I'm right where I need to be. Let me know if you can see them.
Yes.
Is it full screen?
No.
Okay, hold on a second. I gotta move some stuff around here. And I am so sorry, I have a terrible cold and I'm kind of like trying to get through this. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. I gotta stop a different share. Can you see it, Jen? It's
Yes.
just not large. Okay.
Yeah, it works.
Oh, hold on. I think I figured it out. There we go. Okay, let me try to get you. And it's not really going to presentation mode. Oh, here we go. It's just slow. Oh, there we go. And I think I have to go back one, right? Hold on. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'll get there. There we go. Now, just tell me when to move forward when you're ready.
Will do. Thank you,
Okay.
Anne. Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Jennifer DeRosa. I am one of 3 pre-health advisors in the College of Ag and Life Sciences. My colleagues Lori, Steve, and I make up the CALS career team, and one of our many functions is to provide pre-professional guidance as well. So we're going to cover some of the key areas to help you get through some enrollment and some of the frequently asked questions we get. And I've added in a couple of resources to get you started as well. So if we can go to the next slide. Oops, Anne, can we go to the next slide? Oh, there we go. All right. So to get you started, we do have some pre-vet and a pre-med chatter groups. You're going to want to join those because those are where we're going to start to give you information and resources. For those of you in any human health area, dental, physician's assistant, medical school, you would join the pre-med group. We do have pre-health guides. I'm going to put a link right now into the chat box where you can get guides that we have on pre-health and pre-vet careers. And this is going to, both of these guys have a listing of the courses that you're going to want to take. And we're going to review some of those in a minute. Those of you who are pre-vet students also, once you have access to Canvas, when you're on campus, you might want to enroll for our pre-vet planning course. It's not really a course, it's a tool where we have information for you to help guide you through the process of preparing for vet school. Next slide. Okay, so some of the biggest questions we get at this point are, how do I know what classes to enroll in? When do I enroll in them? So next slide. So for those of you starting out, coming in as a freshman, don't try to take too many of your required courses at once. Don't overload yourself. Because remember, you're going to be balancing not only your pre-health requirements, but your major requirements, CALS requirements. So a lot of students start with taking one of their math courses, maybe calculus or statistics. Some students choose to maybe fulfill some of their written expression. A lot of students do that through freshman writing seminars. You're not limited to those, but some students just find there's a lot to select from there. We don't recommend that you try to take your intro bio and your intro chemistry class your first semester, especially not with a math. Some students try to do this combination and can succeed, but it's a tough combination. So we recommend taking either starting with your chemistry or biology. And some students also diversify by taking one of their social sciences, sociology, or psychology. We recommend some of these courses first, particularly the math, your bio, your chemistry, because these are going to be great foundations for some of the next courses you're going to take after that. Some you might not realize that fewer than half of all applicants apply at the end of their junior year, and the remainder take gap years. So for a lot of you who want to apply in your junior year, you have 6 semesters to meet the requirements for pre-med and pre-vet school. However, you're not limited to that. A number of students do take gap years and also use that senior year and get 8 semesters. So just know you have options. Next slide. So a typical sequence of courses, you're not required to do it in this order, but this is what we recommend. That freshman year, you take your writing seminars or your written expression courses. Usually freshman and sophomore years, you're taking your general chemistry, your biology, your mathematics, which usually is calculus and statistics. Also, some students infuse their social science courses in here as well. And then by sophomore, junior year, you're fitting in the physics, organic chemistry, and biochem. And then your upper biology, some students then take those junior and or senior year because a number of those aren't required for the MCAT or for requirements for med school. They're just good to know. We do recommend that mathematics is taken early because this is going to provide you with the strong quantitative skills that you'll need for some of those chemistry and physics courses. In the guide that I'm going to show you in a minute, we're given a whole list of recommended and required courses. Know that these cover requirements for not just getting into medical or vet school, but also the information you'll need to pass some of those standardized tests like the MCAT, DAT, GRE, things like that, that you're going to need to have as well. Next slide. Okay, so when you go to see the guide, you're going to see usually about 2 pages that are going to look like this. They're going to go through the subject matter that you're required to take for medical school to cover for things like the MCAT or GRE. Within those subjects, oftentimes you have multiple courses you can choose from. And sometimes you're going to see, so under biology, where you see that there might be an option of taking Bio 1440 or 1445. No, what this means is it's the same exact course, but 1440 is lecture-based and 1445 is individual instruction or auto-tutorial. That's not a good fit for some students because you do need to be very disciplined to stay on top of the workload. So if you don't think you can do that, then you're going to want to take the lecture-based courses. Next slide. So this next slide is just what our pre-vet students are going to see within their guide. Again, it's going to outline the subject area and then what are the selection of courses that you can take within that subject to meet the requirements. Next. Okay, so I'm seeing some questions in the side about like biological engineering does not follow CAL's requirements. So your requirements for pre-med and pre-vet aren't necessarily what your major requirements are. So those could be very different things. So it's finding a balance, working with your advisors to make sure you're meeting and crossing over where those courses may overlap or where you have to take separate courses. Some frequently asked questions we get is, can I use AP credit for my required courses? And the answer really is we don't recommend it. Some med schools, so we'll start with med schools, some med schools do accept them, but a number of them do not. So if you want to be eligible for the most number of schools that you can apply to, we recommend you don't use AP credit for required courses. We do get the question then, well, if I use an AP credit for a course such as calculus, can I just take an upper level course? So in that case, yes. If you like calculus and you're good at it and you want to use those AP credits and you're fine with taking an upper level calculus course, you can then take that upper level course to meet that math requirement in your home institution. Other areas, I know I got a question about chemistry courses and can you take the AP for 2070 and then take an upper level course? Technically, yes, you can. There are courses like Chem 2870 or Chem 4100 that might meet that. But again, we don't recommend it unless you're a chemistry major, you have a love of chemistry, you're very good at it. They're difficult courses. So we recommend that you do the sequence that we give of the 2070, 2080. So for vet schools are a little bit more flexible when it comes to AP credits. You will want to check in that pre-vet planning tool. We do have a checklist that shows which ones, what subjects you might be allowed to take AP credits for. But definitely check in with one of the pre-health advisors as well before you make final decisions. Another question do we get, can I take required courses for SU, for satisfactory, unsatisfactory? No, you cannot. Schools will not accept that, so you must take required courses for letter grade. What is the lowest grade I can get in a required course? Most medical schools require you to get a C or better within any required course. So if you don't want to have to repeat a course, work hard in getting that C or better. There are a lot of resources to help you through these courses. There's tutoring, use of TAs, professor office hours, setting up study groups. Students have found that really helpful. And who can you meet to get advice? So as I mentioned, there's 3 of us on the CALS career team that you can meet with. There's also a pre-health advisor in our central career office who will meet with students from any college. Often in departments that have a large number of students who go into these fields, they have resources available as well. In our Office of Undergraduate Biology, the staff is very well versed in what pre-health requirements are. They also have a number of well-trained student ambassadors. In the pre-vet track, in animal science, Jerry Gavalchin is a faculty member who works with both animal science and non-animal science students as well, who have questions about attending vet school as well. So next slide. So questions at this point about pre-health.
Hey, Jen, there was a question about if you're pre-med, should you take sociology and psychology in preparation?
Yes, traditionally, Soc or DSoc 1101 and Psychology 1101 are both subjects that are covered on the MCAT. And most schools require 1, some schools 2 social science courses. So your best bet is to take both. Can I take Orgo during summer at CUNY? And will that negatively affect you? So any courses, unless you've come from a transfer school, for required courses, they like to be seen taken during, at your home institution during a regular course load. So most schools do prefer to do that. If you're taking it over the summer to avoid doing that, hoping you get a better grade, it could be a flag to some med schools. There are exceptions, students who have decided later in their time at Cornell that they want to go into med school and need to catch up on some of the requirements. Some courses like physics are often a little bit more acceptable to take over a summer, especially if they see that it's to keep up to get all the requirements and on time to apply. So I would talk with advisors. If you are going to take a course at another institution, you want it to be a 4-year institution. We've not treated this yet. I'm sorry to see on the chat what other questions might be on there. I see that there's some questions about chem and physics classes would fulfill distribution requirements. You always want to double check the list of accepted distributions, but I believe in, correct me if I'm wrong, Sean or Nikki, that 2070 should fulfill some of those distribution courses for chemistry.
Yep, it sure will.
So yeah, so some of your courses will meet your major requirements, distribution requirements, and it's Great if you have that overlap. But some students who go into these areas are not necessarily in traditional science areas. We have business students, communication students who decide to go into med school as well. So then there's a little less overlap for some of those pre-health courses.
Would you recommend taking sociology or psychology your first year?
Sure, you can.
Okay, thank you.
That you can, so some of the requirements, so those are some of the ones you can mix in with some of those hard science courses to keep a balance in your class and course load.
Okay, thank you.
Great. So I think that was kind of the end of our formal slides and information, and we still have some time. Does anyone have other questions that we can help you with tonight?
Hello?
Hi, go ahead.
Hi. I just have a question about, I guess, enrolling for classes, like figuring out which classes to enroll in. So should we email our advisors or I guess our program coordinators if we don't have an advisor to figure out which classes we're going to need for the semester? Or should we use like DUST or the degree progress screen?
Yeah, actually, Shauna just posted a link to the blog. And if you go to that, you can click on your major and there's some suggested first semester courses that we've collected them from all of the majors. So you should have a pretty good guide from that. And then there is contact information for each of the majors or the departments if you had a kind of a deeper question with something was confusing, you could certainly clarify that with them. But we do have kind of a guide, depending on your major, the recommended courses to take. And that link, I believe, is also available in Chatter, but Shauna just posted it in the chat if you want to grab it real quick.
Okay. Yeah, I was just wondering because I'm a transfer student, so my
okay. That could be a little trickier. And so if you can work directly, what major?
Communication.
Yeah, if you can work directly with Heather Crespin, she can probably guide you a little bit closer to what you might need as an incoming transfer student. Yep.
Okay.
Great question. Anyone else have a question?
So we had a comment in the chat about structured credit and asking what the structured credit
That's a good one.
in DUST. So just to clarify, structured credit is another thing that is part of your degree requirements and that you'll see being tracked on your degree progress. And basically those courses that are considered structured are basically any class that has a lecture and a meeting, a formal meeting time. So the things that are not considered structured credit are things like independent studies, independent research, TAing for a class, and things that are more a little, just less structured, so that they don't have any necessary seat time as far as that goes. So that is just something, again, to keep in mind. Again, it's not something that generally students have problem fulfilling, but just something to keep in mind.
Hey, Aubrey, somebody just asked what is balloting? Can you take a second to describe that?
Sure. So you should be receiving, if you haven't already, from the Knight Institute, information on how to ballot for a freshman writing seminar. And basically what the process is, it's very different than the pre-enrolling process that you'll look at next week. You'll go through, you'll be able to view all of the freshman writing seminars that are offered for the fall. You can see them on the class roster right now, but you won't be able to pre-enroll in them. You'll need to sort through them and then choose your top 5. So basically that ballot is just you choosing those top 3 or 5, however many classes they let you choose, and then you submit that, and then the Knight Institute and their office goes through, and then they enroll you in the freshman writing seminar that they're able to get you into as part of your top 5. So we recommend choosing courses that fit within your schedule. So make sure you pay attention to the time that the freshman writing seminars are offered that you're choosing to make sure that they don't overlap with any of your core requirement classes that you're trying to get into.
Aubrey, have they listed the writing seminar option courses yet? Someone was asking if they're available.
I know that they are available on the class roster. I have seen them, but I'm not sure. I have not looked at the Knight Writing Institute to see.
They're available starting tomorrow.
Perfect, thanks.
Thanks, Shauna. Any other questions?
I was wondering if you recommend any English classes for pre-meds and bio majors.
So I think the question was, do we recommend English classes if you're a bio or pre-med focused?
Right. So you are required to take, depending on school, 1 to 2. So we recommend 2 written expression courses. You will want to check in with medical schools if they also have a medical terminology requirement. But freshman writing seminars, and again, you're not limited to those, but typically fulfill those required courses for written expression with medical schools. As far as if biology requires it or not, that I don't know. That would be through your department or academic advisor. Could tell you that.
Oh, sorry. The question was, which particular courses would you recommend?
There's no any particular one. So those with written expression. So if you find ones that you're interested in, and helps build your writing ability, those should fit the bill. Almost all freshman writing seminars do meet it. There's 1 or 2 that don't, but that's noted in the course description. So it's really your call as to which one best fits you and your interests.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? I see everyone's trying to keep up with the chat questions. Someone asked again about when the advisor assignment might happen. It varies depending on the major. You may hear something sooner than others, but it will happen before you get here in August. You'll know who your advisor is. Any other questions?
Hi, I'm majoring in biological engineering, and I saw the link that you sent about like the sample curriculum, and I know you mentioned that we shouldn't take bio and chem together, but like in the sample curriculum of biological engineering, it says you take bio, chem, and computer science in the same semester. So, what should I do?
So again, it depends on your major. So you'll want to follow what your major requirements and what the recommendations or requirements are for your major. Again, some students are fine with that combination. Some students have found it difficult. So it all depends on you as a student as well. So for pre-med requirements, we don't say you have to take all 3 of them at once, but if your major says something different, you'll want to talk with your advisor and follow their lead.
Thank you.
So we had a question
Oh, go ahead.
in the chat about changing majors. So in pursuing a change of major, I know we touched on it briefly that at this point before you get here, that's not a possibility to do, but as you go through your time and decide you want to pursue changing a major, what we encourage students to do is to reach out to the department that they're interested in changing to and figure out if they have any requirements, taking a class or something of that nature in order to be eligible to switch to that major, and then working from there. And you're also encouraged to work with our office, whether it's career advising or academic advising, to make sure your academic plan is set so that if you are to change your major, that you'll still be on track for graduation. And if you're interested in changing colleges, that is a process that you could pursue after your first year. So you would not be able to apply to change colleges until the spring semester of your freshman year if you're a freshman. So that is something called an internal transfer that you could look into.
Any other questions? Okay, see there's a couple still happening in the chat. Oh, someone asked, how long is add drop? Aubrey, do you have those dates at the top of your head?
So I know the add period is staggered just before classes start in August. So depending on what class year you are, they could start a few days before classes, up to the day before classes, and then they run. I don't know the add deadline off the top of my head, but a few weeks into the semester. And then you can still change your schedule around depending on the class. There are some classes that have an earlier add or drop deadline, so that is something to pay attention to as well.
The add deadline is September 12th.
Hi, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
So you said that you wouldn't recommend taking chem and intro to bio your first semester, but my student advisor suggested that I take evolutionary biology, 1780, and chem. Or do you think that the safest bet would be to take chem and then also take calculus my first semester?
This can be very individual, right? So we just said you don't need to do that. It's a combination that some students find tough in their first semester, but some students do not. So again, if there are different major requirements, then you want to follow the lead of your department and major as to what courses and what sequence you should be taking them. So it's not impossible. Students have done it. And if that is what your major is asking you to do, then you want to follow that lead. But you don't, for those students who are just looking at pre-health requirements, they're not required to take all those courses in the first semester.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hi, I had a question.
Yeah, go ahead. Just speak up a little bit louder.
Okay. In Student Center, it shows that I'm a transfer student. So in Student Center, it shows that I have sociology credit, but I didn't take sociology. So is that a mistake, or how should I look into that? Because I was also planning on taking sociology next semester.
That feels like a registrar question. I'll take a stab at it. But basically, sometimes when credit is awarded, we may have placed it in a category. Maybe it should actually belong someplace else. And we can go ahead and make those adjustments for you or corrections. Sometimes transfer credit can be a little tricky, and when we're trying to decide where it satisfies a requirement, but we can always look at it. There's flexibility in making any adjustments that might need to be made. Probably your best thing is to email our office, Cal Student Services, with the question, and we can look closely at maybe what changes need to happen. But if you haven't taken sociology and you want to, you know you haven't taken it, you could probably go ahead and try to add it as a course if you want to for the fall. And we can help you with the adjustment at any time this summer.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Anything else we can help you guys with?
Hi. I have another question about registering for classes. So I think my question is, at first I'm just a little confused. So is there a difference between pre-enrollment and enrollment? I saw that in the chat earlier, but it seemed the only difference was time.
I can take a stab at this one. You're pretty much correct that the only difference between pre-enroll and the add period, which we could also call enrollment, is about the time of year that it takes place. Pre-enroll for students will take place before the next semester starts. And it's also a time where there might be more restrictions on courses placed administratively for a variety of reasons. It could be that they're saving seats for certain class years in those courses, or they're restricting those courses to certain majors so that those majors would have the ability to enroll in them before students from outside that major. And all students are limited to 18 credits during pre-enroll. And then we use that information to kind of get an idea of where the interests are in the classes. We might see that one class is really, really full and we need to add another section, or we need to cancel a certain class because it doesn't look like there was interest in it. So then we'll take that time to make some adjustments. Then right when the semester starts, that's when the add drop period opens up, and then everybody can start making changes to their class schedules at that time. So you add classes during both pre-enroll and the add drop period. There are just some slight differences. Does that help clear that up?
Yeah, yep. And also we can start adding classes into our shopping cart right now.
Yes, you can.
Okay, and then would we then hit enroll now on July 8th, or would we hit enroll?
Yes, you will.
Okay.
July 8th, 9 a.m.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question about the swim test. I don't know how to swim, so do I have to take the swim test?
Yes. So the swim test will be offered during orientation. We highly encourage, all freshman students to go attempt the swim test. But if you are unable to take the swim test or you don't pass on your first try, there's a great PE course that is offered every semester called Beginning Swim, and they go over all the fundamentals of swimming, and they give you all the tools that you need, all the skills that you'll need to pass the swim test. They'll offer the swim test during that semester as well for you. So there are a lot of students that take the Beginning Swim class, so you certainly won't be alone in that. But yes, you will still have to take and pass the swim test in order to graduate.
So do I include the swim class in my pre-enrollment, or?
You can. Yep, you can, or you could, decide not to do it during pre-enroll and then add it during the add period if you want.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We have time for probably about one more question. Does anybody have anything else they want to ask? Well, you guys had great questions and you kept us busy on the chat. And unfortunately, I don't know if we were able to answer everything. I know everybody was trying. What I would encourage you to do, though, because you asked such great questions of us tonight, as you have more, please just go ahead and post them in chatter, and we promise we will answer your questions there. And definitely, if you really need some help with anything kind of more detailed, certainly feel free to give us a call or even email our office. So I think with that, we're probably going to wrap things up for this Zoom session. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I know this was put in chat earlier, but just in case, where do we find the link? Because I know this is recorded, so to go back and look over this whole session, where should we just copy the link that's in chat right now, or is there some other place to find it?
Yeah, what will happen is I'm recording this, and so it's going to take a little bit of time for me to download it, but we will post the link in Chatter, and then you
Okay.
can go back and listen to it. Okay?
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't want my chick.
Sure, go ahead. Did somebody have a question? Okay, I thought somebody had a question. All right, so with that, we're going to wrap up for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for participating. We're going to do this again on Sunday night. I don't know that we'll have a lot of new information, but there certainly is a chance to ask more questions if you want to jump back on. But like I said, Chatter is a great place to post any questions you've got, and we promise we will get back to you. So with that, have a great 4th of July holiday, and thanks for joining us tonight. We look forward to seeing you guys in a few weeks on campus. Take care.